Okay, great. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge a few people. First, Jeffrey Colath, our curator of exhibits, for finding this exhibit and working with Andre, and for bringing it to the museum. I'd also like to thank the Wisconsin Veterans Museum Foundation for its support, but most especially this evening, I'd like to thank those of you in the audience who are connected to this exhibit in the most profound and intimate way, those of you who have lost a loved one in Iraq or Afghanistan. Thank you for sharing the evening with us. We'll get started with a short invocation from the Reverend Marshall Norman. If we can make room for the Reverend, please. Thank you.
I invite us all to close our eyes and to take a deep breath. Great Spirit, many times in life we're faced with situations that are beyond our ability to encounter, to deal with on our usual level of experience. So we're taking a moment here to let go of the busyness of this day, all that it took for us to arrive here at this sacred place, in the presence of 101 men and women who lost their lives in war in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're standing here, sitting here, being here to honor them, to honor their families. We know that we are one in spirit, that death does not separate us, that we can send our love and our respect, our profound appreciation to these men and women, their families, their friends. We can know that this love, this honor and this respect, this appreciation is being received. And Great Spirit, we give this problem of war into your care and keeping. We're also here standing for a time when war will be no more, when we will have learned the lessons that we need to learn to live together in harmony, to honor all of life. And I know that these 101 have served that purpose. And so we can say, even though it seems strange, thank you. We're saying thank you to these 101. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Andre Ferrella's fate was sealed at a young age when he came across the works of Rembrandt, and soon after he began to teach himself the foundational techniques that would serve him well throughout his career. By the time he was 12, he had already created works evocative of the Dutch masters. Their use of light and shadow became the central element of his style. Born in Detroit, he received his BA from the University of Toledo and his Master in Fine Arts from the UW. His work is unusually diverse, and he has exhibited extensively in Europe and in the US. Ferrella has been called an ambassador of peace, an appellation bestowed upon him by German diplomats during an exhibition of his work at the America House in 1996. Indeed, his works do convey a sense of peace and are undeniably spiritual in nature. What you see here tonight is a fitting and proper reminder of the 101 Wisconsin service members who gave their lives in the line of duty in Afghanistan and Iraq. It is also a reminder that men and women continue to sacrifice their lives for our cherished ideals, even as we speak. We hope that those who look upon these images are in some way changed, and and that in the end, they help us build common ground and a unified narrative for the future. We are proud to host this important exhibit and privileged to have the Ambassador of Peace with us tonight. Please help me welcome Andre Ferrella.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Aren't they beautiful? I appreciate that you have come here tonight to show your support, your love, and your compassion to honor and commemorate these brave 101 service members who have fallen in Iraq and Afghanistan. Many of us have been touched by the loss of a family member, a relative, an acquaintance, or a friend who has made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of our country. To those of you who have suffered that loss, I offer my deepest and most sincere sympathy. I hope that these spirit boxes will provide comfort and healing for the families and for us as well. Their beautiful souls and beautiful spirits live on as eternal beings. It is my intention to honor and commemorate these men and women with dignity and respect. I want to thank the Wisconsin Veterans Museum for hosting and commissioning the first installation of The Rise of the Fallen. I would like to also thank Director Michael Telzrow, Curator Jeff Koloff, and all the staff at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum for this fine support in making this installation a respectful and beautiful presentation of honor. I would also like to thank the board members of the RiseOfTheFallen.org, Willie Hausner and Diane Pauley, the advisory board, and all the friends who have given their support helping the Rise of the Fallen achieve its goals. I want to especially thank my wife, Linda Morris Ferrella, whose efforts and involvement kept this project alive and moving forward. She has been the wind beneath my wings. Many people have asked me what is the inspiration for this memorial. As an artist, I have always strived to convey the beauty of our universe, our place in the universe, and the divine nature of each of us. Creating spirit boxes flowed as a natural expression of that desire. During an exhibition of 80 of these spirit boxes at the Elmhurst Art Museum in Elmhurst, Illinois, in 2006 and 2007, people were drawn to them. The Chicago Tribune newspaper described them as timeless. After this positive and affirming response, and my own reaction as I look at a spirit box of myself, I am reminded of who I truly am and who each of us are, eternal, spiritual beings in human form. About this time, I felt a persistent need to create a memorial for our soldiers. I created some spirit boxes of soldiers and requested to do presentations at VFW organizations, and the response was very positive and encouraging. I also created a spirit box for the parents of soldiers who have lost their lives. The first one was for Peg O'Donnell, mother of Lance Corporal Shane O'Donnell. I created one of Rachel Hugo, daughter of Ruth and Kermit Hugo, and also Nadia McCaffrey of California, for her son, Specialist Patrick McCaffrey. Their response confirmed to me that the spirit boxes of their loved one had assisted them in their journey in healing. And that persistent feeling to create this memorial 3 years ago has been so rewarding to be of assistance to their healing. My hope is that this national memorial brings more hope and closure to even more people. The Rise of the Fallen is a nonprofit charitable organization. Our goal is to create a national installation of every soldier that has fallen as a result of these conflicts. Under my direction, these spirit boxes are built by a nonprofit charitable organization that employs individuals with challenges and barriers called Lake State Industries. Your support has gone to helping those individuals as well. If you feel so moved to help us,
please visit our website, theriseofthefallen.org. God bless you. God bless our soldiers. God bless America. God bless planet Earth. Thank you. I would like to introduce to you Peg O'Donnell. She would like to say a few words, and after that we can have a question and answer period.
I wasn't going to sit on the floor because you'd have to get a crane to get me back up. I am nose to nose with my son when I stand in here. That's a very comforting feeling. It's difficult to put into words the feeling of connection and peace I experienced while visiting Andre's studio. There was no spirit box of Shane in the studio, but I had a strong feeling of his presence and that he was at peace, which was very strange because I'm not that type of person, but it was there, trust me. The spirit box to me is the essence of who Shane was. It's not a portrait because that is so flat in comparison. The spirit boxes actually capture, you feel like you can reach out and touch them, and you can see more of who they were rather than a picture. I wholeheartedly have supported Andre's efforts since I heard about it, and I'm very grateful to him and to Linda for taking on such a heartfelt and difficult project. I know it has also been a very touching experience for you. I hope these spirit boxes will bring peace and closure to other families of the fallen. I know it has helped me on my journey. Thank you.
Okay. I am really happy to see so many people, even back here. This is just absolutely beautiful. If you have any questions, and I know you do, I'd be certainly happy to do my best to answer what your inquiries are. Anybody like to ask the first question? Yes.
What's this process like of taking a photo and then creating this from it? What's that process like?
But the question was, what is the process like about taking the photo and creating the spirit box?
How do you create this?
Well, I don't tell anyone. I wanted to leave this part of my career as sort of a mystery, and I think that the mystery lends itself to the more questions that you want to present to your own self, and so therefore you'll inquire more about who you truly are. But basically the material is plexiglass and a photograph, and it's the way I work the spirit box or the photograph in the computer. So because I have to work on the face specifically to make it work for this. They look extremely simple, but they are actually very, very complex. So I don't really like to tell anyone because I want to leave this to them. So I hope that's okay. Yes.
Andre, what's the there's another state, I mean, this is Wisconsin, and your intention is to do this in every state, or is there another state that you're working on, or?
Well, we started out in Illinois, actually,
okay.
And then we had built 24 of the boxes by Lake State Industries. So actually the project moved up here because I live in Madison, in Monona, and we wanted to do a national, but we realized that maybe perhaps at that time it was just too much of an undertaking to do all at once, and we need sponsorship and support, and I approached the Wisconsin Veterans Museum, and they liked the idea, and so they commissioned this project, and we went forward with the Wisconsin soldiers. And I'm hoping that eventually we can go either state to state or do a national. So that's our intention, is to honor all the soldiers that have fallen.
Andre, do you need to contact the families and get their permission in order for you to reproduce the pictures?
As far as I understand, no. People asked that in the beginning if I'm infringing on any copyrights, but because the spirit boxes take away so much of the identification and reveal their spirit, perhaps, that's not infringing on any copyrights. And
You can take them from DOD. That's public record. There's no infringement there.
well, I got all the portraits of everyone off the Washington Post, CNN, Military Times.
That's all public information.
And that's all public information. So I hope that I'm not offending anyone by doing that, and that's not my intention. My intention is to honor. But so far as I know, that it's okay to do that.
I just was thinking more in terms of how honored a family would be that you would choose to do this, and are they made aware at some point?
Well, I actually received an email from one of the families way up north, and to much to my surprise, she said, I see that you're doing this project at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum, and I didn't know that I gave you permission to use my son's portrait, but I see that your project is honorable. So I realized, even though that perhaps someone might not like that idea, when they see the project and they see what we're doing, they understand that it's for a really good cause. But I've gotten other responses from other families, and so far everyone has given me approval of it, and I'm very, very happy and grateful for that.
Where are you going to end up with this exhibit? Is it going to stay here, or do you have some other place it's going to be?
As far as I understand, this is now owned by the Wisconsin Veterans Museum, and it'll be here for 4 months, and they're hopefully that it will travel throughout Wisconsin and perhaps the Midwest, so that we'll be able to spread the healing and support around the state of Wisconsin, and I think that information will travel as word of mouth goes on.
Andre, as Wisconsin has more fallen soldiers, will you be adding their spirits as well to this exhibit?
I think that would be necessary.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to be honored. As a matter of fact, we started out with 100. And just the last, was a couple of months ago, Mr. Barth, I think his name is, fallen, and I was contacted and said we needed one more spirit box. So, for some reason, it just became the right thing to do.
Andre, can you talk briefly about the moment or the process of inspiration that led you to this project?
I think there has been many moments. I think the moments have been the moments of my life, culminating to this event. Particularly, I was on a spiritual retreat, and I had an exhibition also at the Elmhurst Art Museum, and comments were like, the comments from the public was that it's like they're on this side looking at us, and we're on this side looking at them. And it wasn't of soldiers. And for some reason, I just felt this compelling feeling, this persistent feeling to want to honor the soldiers, those who have given their lives. I mean, it's incredible that they are such brave, young men and women who have put themselves in harm's way, I mean, which is the ultimate sacrifice. And I thought that was just something that most of us could never ever dream of doing. So that brave and those heroic efforts, I think, need to be honored. So the inspiration was a spiritual inspiration. It was almost divinely given, I can say.
Andre, when you first started this project, can you speak to all the different emotions and feelings that you dealt with then and what you deal with today?
That's also another very good question. When I have to work on each and every face, so I look at them in the eyes. And there are many times that I have cried. So there is a lot of emotion that goes into it. And not anywhere near the emotional feelings that I'm sure the families have. But in some way, I feel connected to them when I work with them, because I look at each and every one of them, and I have to take the time to really see what their face is like. to make it work for the spirit box. So it's been a very emotional experience.
Thank you.
If a family in another state at this point, say out east or out west, hears about or reads about your project and would like a spirit box of their fallen son or daughter, is that something that you do outside of this larger scope?
Yes.
You do.
Yes. I've made spirit boxes, of course, as I said, of myself and of others. And not just people who have fallen, but I started out actually making spirit boxes of people who were alive. And some people commissioned me, and I would certainly do that for all the families. Yes.
How did you decide the order of the soldiers?
There was no order. It was done randomly. That was arranged by curator Jeffrey Koloff and his assistant Lee, and they put it together in the key here, as you can see, and they arranged it according to what they thought was the best. You know, and I don't think there needs to be any order, but it is very interesting to know who's in the middle, who's on the ends, who's in what row or column, and yeah. So I think it doesn't matter which order it goes in; it will go in the order it needs to go in. Yes.
So these are rearrangeable in any way to display them. Will they stay in this position for this space for the duration of the time? And then when you travel with them, will they be arranged again in this way? Because are they locked into a certain...
It's not likely we would change the arrangement, since we have the key already.
Just curious about... But they will be added to, correct?
Hopefully not. But,
Oh, hopefully not.
they would be if there was...
And hopefully not.
Hopefully not. If we needed to.
Huh.
I think they can be arranged in any which way. I think the presence is powerful enough with each individual box.
Yeah.
But I think in this arrangement, it just feels so much larger than it is. Doesn't it? It just feels like there's so much presence here.
Andrew, when I think of, when you speak of spirit, and I think of the saying, the spirit, or the eyes are the window to our soul. Did you choose the face specifically for that reason, or it almost seems like the eyes really call out to us? Is that on purpose, or is that just my perception?
I think that's all our perceptions. I think, what do we look at first when we look at a portrait? We look at first the eyes. Tell us everything about that person, even how they're feeling. Your intuition and your gut feeling helps you to respond to their expression. So I believe, yes, the eyes are the window to the soul. It's very true. But you know how they have in these magazines or even on television, can you guess who this person is by their eyes? I mean, that is just so incredible that we identify all of us by this sort of slim, very small portion of our face. I mean, when we're born, and I have the privilege to be a new grandfather as of a couple months ago, and when I see baby Sophie looking at her mother, her grandmother, me, her father, and other people, and when she looks at, she just stares at you. So, you know, just being a newborn, what do? We immediately are attracted to the face, and we look and study the human face. That, to me, is the most important representation that we have on earth, is the human face. And of course, that leads us into the eyes, which are the windows to the soul. And I love portraiture. I've done portraiture my entire life, and I mean, of the billions and billions and billions of portraits have been, or millions of portraits that have been painted, and the billions of photographs that have been taken of so many people, we are all very unique. And we will remember that face of who that person is, whether we remember the name or not. We remember the face. And I think that's very important with these, because it's not just a name, it's carved in stone. I mean, these beings walked the earth and they were here with us. So we know what they actually look like and what they feel like. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that concludes the program, but I do hope you stay with us at least until 7:30, and do come back and see it. Come back and see it. Bring your friends. Come back by yourself when there's no one in here, and reflect. And I hope that you come away this evening changed somewhat. On behalf of the Wisconsin Veterans Museum, Department of Veterans Affairs, and our foundation, I thank you for coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How can you get up?